deserve to have the best physical, mental, spiritual, Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. It's been a couple weeks. We've taken a little time off. Had some things come up last week and the week before, some technical issues, but we're back and we're here. I've had a busy couple weeks. On a sad note, I had to put my dog of 10 years. We adopted him. He was like 3 years old, but like the best dog I've ever had. His name is Dawson. And we had to put him down. He was just getting a little old, and he got this vestibular disease where he had no motor function, really had no coordination. He couldn't really walk, and his quality of life was not great. So it was time. It's the first time I've ever had to do it. So I say I don't recommend it, but I kind of do in a sense where, if the dog is not, or the animal, the pet's not doing well, and your quality of life and their quality of life is kind of hindered in a way where it's just it's not good for either one of you. It's time, and they'll appreciate it. That's one thing that I've kind of learned through life and hearing from friends and family that have had to put pets down. They say the animal, the dog, the cat, whatever, is in a better place now because of how he was feeling or she was feeling prior to that. So I'm thankful that he had an awesome life. But yeah, it's kind of a sad note. But other than that, just staying busy watching football and going to the Jaguar games. Go Jaguars! Yes, I think we're 10-4. So we're doing really well. We just we manhandled the Jets just like last weekend. So that was a pretty cool opportunity. I was there again. I've made every game except for our Monday night game against the Chiefs that we won as well. But Jaguars are doing well, and we're sitting at the top of our division right now. Hopefully, we'll get a home field advantage in the playoffs, and we'll see. But I'm real excited for the Jaguars this season and rooting them on as much as I can. Obviously, as a former player, but with regards to just tonight's subject, I want to really I want to emphasize. Let's put it that way. I want to emphasize commitment. We're going to talk about commitment because we know it's the middle of December already. I was talking to Jason prior to getting on the show tonight, and our producer, and he's like, "Man, time is just flying." I know, like every week is going crazy. Like next thing you know, you open up your eyes and it's Friday. So we're in the middle of the month of December, and right around the corner is our New Year's, and more specifically, our New Year's resolutions. That is an incredible time for fitness facilities and nutritionists and just anybody in the health and nutrition space, and fitness space, of course. But I think mostly the fitness space. I see a lot of people. I don't really hear people talk too much about changing the diets or whatever. Maybe they want a New Year's resolution is to be on the diet, but people go on diets all the time. But I think more like the physical activities, the fitness, organizations and gyms. I think there's a lot of attention put on those this time of the year when people, commit. I say commit lightly because there's a lot of commitments that don't hold, and it's a running joke. We all know it. We think about going into the New Year's with a new mindset, and we're going to change our bodies this year. We're going to get healthy and all that. And I've told people many times, like, man, your health will be a lot less expensive down the road if you just take care of yourself now, because again, you get sick and unhealthy, and then the big pharma's got you all these pills, your doctor's, prescribing all these pills that you got to take. And it's, sometimes it's a lifetime thing and you never get out of it. So I've always been a real big fan of taking care of my body within, trying to eat healthy and then exercising, of course. So the commitment is really where I'm going with that, and trying to, really prove to yourself that you can do something. And that's, I'm the epitome of commitment. I'm one of those yes men, those people that have a hard time saying no. I've kind of, sometimes I catch myself like, wow, why did I commit to that? But, it actually turns out to be okay. There's certain things, golf tournaments, things like that. Cause I suck at golf, and I'm like, I'm showing up at the golf course like, I don't want to be here today cause I'm just gonna be embarrassed. I'm not getting the ball very well, but after a while, you meet the people, and hopefully they're fun people, and you have a good time, and it's okay that I suck at golf. It's okay. It's no problem at all. But I never committed to be a good golfer, so I've got an out. put it that way. But with my back, I've got another out because of my back the way it is. I don't, I've had 4 back surgeries, so I don't golf because of the twist and turn in one spot and all that. It doesn't do real well for my back. But anyway, so to continue on, we're gonna talk about commitment. We're gonna talk about kind of goals and things like that, and just embracing the suck. I'm going to introduce and kind of show you a little clip from a guy that I follow on Instagram that calls it the season of suck. And you'll see it here in a little while. But before we get there, I just want to, we'll just take a little break and have a word from our sponsor. And when we get back, we'll talk a lot more about commitment and how good you are or bad you are on it. So here's a little word from our sponsor.
At 3, we want to give you the true health benefits that you're paying for, something you can feel and see a difference quickly. Each product is packed with powerful plant-based nutrients that are combined through a proprietary curation process and then infused with innovative cellular absorption technologies to ensure the nutrients absorb into the cells for maximum wellness. The quality and effectiveness of our life-changing products is evident by their approval to be included in the well-known Prescriber's Digital Reference, or PDR. PDR has been a valuable resource to the medical doctors and providers in the healthcare community for decades. Our products are GMO-free, clinically studied, and third-party tested, all designed to support health and proactive wellness for everyone.
That's the goal is really to understand, your commitment and the level of commitment. One thing that I found that is very helpful, because here's the thing, if you're going to make a commitment to yourself, you're just going to let yourself down if you decommit. Okay. When I'm talking about kicking and football and all this stuff, and I'm coaching a kid, there's a certain angle that they line up that there's a reason why, you line up and you do the same thing every time when you line up is to put yourself at that proper position that you commit to, right? Well, the problem, and again, this is kind of a side note, but a lot of times these kickers, when they run up to the ball, they get on a different angle than they actually committed to originally. So, I mean, how often do you want to decommit and then try to get back? There's all kinds of bad things that can happen when you decommit from the angle. Now, I'm talking about coaching and kicking and all that, but it kind of is relatable because you think about the kind of attitudes that people have, and when you make a commitment, you need to write little Post-it notes and put them all over your house, especially on the mirror. When you're brushing your teeth in the morning, at night, whatever, and you're looking yourself in the mirror, you also see this little Post-it note about the commitment you've just made about your New Year's resolution that you said you were going to do. January 1st, I'm getting on this diet. January 1st, I'm going to start eating better. January 1st, I'm going to get exercise. I'm going to join a gym. There's all kinds of things that people will say January 1st in hopes to kind of, make the next year this great year, this great change. And things happen within the first couple weeks that people just decide that they just aren't committed enough and aren't strong enough to hold on to that commitment. But again, when you decommit to that exercise or nutrition plan or whatever the case is, whatever you're trying to give yourself as that New Year's resolution, you got to go in the mirror in the bathroom there and you got to pull down that little Post-it note. And I would feel horrible for myself. And again, that's just me. There's willpower. There's a lot of willpower involved in making change. And for some people, it's a huge change. But again, I'll always reiterate, you're going to feel better. Because again, I've done this before. I've committed to eating bad, and I've not really. I didn't tell myself in the mirror that I'm going to eat bad. I just started eating bad. I was depressed. I was unhappy. I was, and food was my savior. It kind of like it was my comfort. It was my teddy bear, if you will. So I definitely had a period of time in my life, a couple maybe, where my back was hurt and I stopped working out, and then the more time I spent out not working out and the crappier I ate, the worse my back felt. I thought, well, gosh, I want to give my back a break. Well, it actually made it worse. And so, with regards to that commitment, understanding what the difference is between feeling really bad and out of shape and just not sleeping well, I'm sure there's a lot of things that go along with the unhealthy lifestyle. especially when you add, drugs and alcohol involved in that. Now, alcohol, does wonders, not wonders, but it does, it affects your sleep very, very negatively, of course. So there's a lot of bad things that happen from other stuff and things like that. But you get yourself caught into a certain lifestyle that's comfortable. And if you notice yourself kind of getting a little heavier, maybe a little out of shape and just don't feel great, then, you have to make some changes. And, I'm not saying you have to, but if in order for you to, feel better about yourself and actually enjoy your life and have energy and sleep better, and all kinds of benefits come from when you become more healthy in all aspects, not only just your nutrition and your diet and things like that, supplementations and important, of course, but also, the physical activity. And that's one thing. The physical activity is hard for a lot of people. I understand that, but if you just give it time, now you got to think about how many. You go on your phone and see how many hours you're on your phone. Do the little thing where you can kind of do your screen time and see how much time you're spending on your phone. Well, you're not running on your phone. You're not doing any sort of exercise on your phone. You're probably sitting on the couch or wherever, sitting in a chair at work, whatever. You're sitting down. You're not really doing any exercise. So my point is, the time that you've been spending on your phone. And I'm not saying join a gym and take that time and go to the gym. You can definitely, clearly. I highly recommend it. Honestly, I'm a member of 2 gyms, if you think about it. With regards to just having that time that you could be doing something. Now, when I'm saying something, I'm just saying get out and walk. And again, if it's something that you've never, haven't really done much in a long time, and take the baby steps. I'm a huge fan of day by day activity. Hour by hour, kick by kick, back in the day, when I was kicking, that was my mindset. I don't want to look too far ahead. Okay. Cause honestly, in this aspect too, say maybe you're out of shape. You haven't worked out for a long time. You got a poor diet and all that. And maybe you haven't made any commitments yet, but you feel like, you need to make that commitment. You have to understand that's going to be a commitment that you have to stick with. In order to see some changes. And what really happens, and I've talked about this a lot too, is people just don't give enough time. They don't see the results fast enough. And that's kind of where I was going with the point a second ago, is the fact that you don't look too far ahead, because if you look too far ahead, you're going to wonder how much work it's going to take to look like this. So maybe you put a picture of yourself when you were younger and you were 100 pounds lighter, I don't know. And you're like, man, I want to look like that again. But if you're looking too far ahead at what you want to look like, and you understand how, the struggle is real when you're in the weight room and you're in the gym, whatever, and you're just not enjoying it because it's a struggle. I get that. I understand that. The diet and the food tastes like crap because you're just not used to tasting, good, healthy food, right? Not to say it tastes like crap, because I think it would taste like crap to somebody who's eating a lot of sugar a lot, because sugar makes, and again, you get addicted to sugar. It's like like a drug. It's like terrible. It's horrible for us. But you get addicted to it, and your sensitivity towards sweetness kind of it gravitates towards more sugar. I've had friends. A buddy that passed away from COVID. He drank Diet Coke a lot, and he drank sweet stuff. And the doctor said get off Diet Coke. He went on to Kool-Aid, but he put 2 packets of Kool-Aid when the recommendation was 1 per, the gallon of water, whatever, that he mixed it with. And it was disgusting to me, but it tasted great to him. It wasn't sugary enough. I told him, I spit it out. I said, Barry, this is so bad. He goes, do you think so? It's not, is it not sweet enough? I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's way too sweet. So that's my point. It's like when you get in this routine of eating poorly, and when you try to eat new, good food for you, it tends to not taste too good. So that commitment, taking that commitment to another level, and baby steps. I'm a huge fan. Of course, I've told you many times, baby steps, day by day by day by day. Okay. So, I'm going to show you a clip here. And this is a guy that I follow on Instagram, and his last name is a little hard to pronounce, is Nick Santonastiso. And you'll see why. I just love this guy. I mean, you want to talk about your challenges and your problems and your issues in life. Wait till I recommended you follow him. It's that name, Nick Santonastiso, all one word, and you'll see his information on the clip here. But that's the type of person that can look over anything that any challenges or things in his life that you think are going to be tough in your life, whatever. Just you'll see what I'm talking about. And he refers to this, as kind of like, you never know what you're going to be. You have to embrace. He calls it the season of suck. I call it just embrace the suck. But we're on the same page. We're talking about the same language here with regards to just knowing that you're gonna experience some downfalls. Okay, so without further ado, I'm just watch this real short clip from Nick himself, and we'll talk a little bit about my philosophy, my feelings about it afterwards, and definitely ask questions if you guys need to as well. So he's a great dude. So here's that clip.
Hey, I have a message for you. You're gonna suck before you're great at something. You're gonna feel dumb before you feel smart. You're gonna feel weaker before you feel strong. But if you go through the season of suck, on the other side of that, you're gonna have a breakthrough, you're gonna have mastery. So tag and share this with someone who's going through the season of suck to let them know on the other side, they're finally going to be good and it's gonna be okay. Because it can literally change their life.
Wow. So a couple key words he said, it would at the very end, it'll literally change your life. You will never know until you get through that season of suck if it would actually change your life. And that's what I'm saying. I've always said that, man. It's like you got to give yourself an opportunity to see what the suck, there's a little suck in there, but by the time the suck season is over, you're embracing that suck for so long, and it's like, man, this is terrible. When you get through that, that's the hills or the humps I always refer to. Whether it's your diet, whether it's your exercise, I lived through it too. It sucks. It literally sucks. It's not fun because, again, if you're looking too far ahead and you're expecting results too early or too soon, you'll never know. You'll never know because there's a process. And again, I've always, just as I don't want to say as fast, because it does take time to become out of shape. It does take time to become unhealthy. You don't know it now, but today, if you committed to just eating poorly, say, I don't care about life. I'm just gonna be happy eating a bunch of crappy food, and I'm not gonna exercise anymore. Well, before you know it, maybe a month or two down the road, you're gonna start noticing, man, I'm really not feeling too good. This is not great. I'll say maybe a month or so because it doesn't take that long. It depends on you and as a person and what kind of body and metabolism you might have, but with regards to just that time frame, it takes you to get out of shape. What makes you think you're going to get in shape much quicker, than the time it took you to get out of shape? Like you got to understand and be realistic with this, and that's where that commitment falls with a lot of people. And I'm here to tell you, I always bring up football. I'm a short guy, 5'8" on a great day. 180 pounds, very average athlete. I should have never, based on those three things, never played in the NFL, let alone go to a Pro Bowl and be all pro and lead the NFL in scoring one year, 1997. And I say that not to impress you. I say that to impress upon you that someone of my size and lack of athletic ability was able to do that because I committed. I fell in love with kicking. I had a passion for kicking and I committed to it. But again, I train myself not to look too far ahead and not have too high of expectations. That's why I'm not a huge long-term goal setter because a lot of times people set goals, they have to be committed. That's one thing that I think people decommit and their goals will never be even come close to achieving because the fact that they didn't give themselves enough opportunity to commit to that goal and to see if they could actually achieve it. But sometimes they're a little bit unrealistic. I know that people make it unrealistic to make them push them a little bit harder, but there's a threshold there. There's an area where it's a little bit too high sometimes to some goals. So I really like to focus. Me personally, I highly recommend it because it worked for me. Is the goals, chop them down into small, like baby, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. Okay, and again, if you don't have a specific goal, like you can't think of a daily goal or monthly goal, whatever. Like a daily goal, really, the best thing anybody can do is just do the best they can on any given day and just look themselves in the mirror at the end of the day and say, if you're going to lie to yourself and say, I did the best I could today. And in reality, you didn't. So, if you're lying to yourself, look yourself in the mirror every single night and say, I did the best I could under the circumstances I was given today. And again, hopefully you improved. If you didn't improve, maybe you had to deal with some circumstances. Who cares? It's that day. We'll get better next day. We'll get better tomorrow. It's okay. But you got to stay committed to what you committed to. Okay. And that's really where, again, what Nick was talking about is the season of suck and not knowing, you're going to get, get dumber before you get smarter. You're going to get worse before you get better athletically, blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of different things that you can use that in, because it is true. It is true. There's a lot of, we all fail. And that's why I think the people that just don't, can't handle failure in this whole participation trophy thing that I don't think parents are doing and leagues and sports leagues are doing anymore. But man, I was so upset when they first started talking about this. Oh, everyone gets a trophy. I'm like, I don't know if you're teaching the kid the right thing. Little Johnny, let him cry. It's okay, little Johnny, if you lost the game. Okay, it's okay. You lost the game. It's fine. You whatever the case may be, you're going to get better. This is a learning process. This is something that you can take and learn from. And again, if you're rewarding kids for losing, what do you think when they grow up and their bosses are going to do when they have this job and they fail at a project? That's not good for their income and their livelihood, right? And are they going to cry and say, well, they can make excuses, or what's going to happen when the kid gets older? So again, the commitments that we're talking about are commitments that will make you a better person. Obviously, we think of things in life, and obviously with Zealous Wellness, with the whole topic we're talking about with health and nutrition and fitness and all that stuff, and even mentally, it helps you mentally too. And come closer to Jesus and learn more about the Bible and commit yourself to that. And you'll find that things will start to change. You're like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. But if you don't give it but a couple days, give it a month, give it a long period of time before you expect to see any changes or notice changes. If you don't notice changes too early because you have that high expectation, then you're not looking at it the right way, because everything in life is a process. Very rarely do things happen pretty instantly. Okay, not in my life at least. Maybe yours, I don't know. I've never really experienced anything that was kind of instantly. I mean, referring to things that would typically take time to notice anything. There's never been anything that I never went in one day and it was benching 200, and the next day I came in and benched 400. That doesn't happen. That's a process you got to get. If you want to bench 400, you're not going to get there unless you keep working out daily over and over and over again. And maybe a year from then you might bench 400. Now, don't be taking all those roids and all that to do that. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, again, I'm not a huge fan of trying to be the strong man type of guy. I'm as a kicker, we don't really lift weights that whole much. I mean, we kind of do, I guess, but with regards to my training, what I would do, I'd rather be doing sprints and more skill like sort of exercises. Kicking is a very explosive motion. I want to train that way. I don't want to train lifting weights, especially on my chest or my back, upper body. I mean, I'm kicking the ball with my lower body, really, or actually the whole body, but I'm not really using my chest. But I digress. So with regards to just kind of the commitment, and again, I treat it as, with my, commitment to football, I didn't know if I could make it. And that wasn't really the goal. I've told you guys that before, is I committed to being the best that I could be as a kicker, and whatever level that got me, I have to be okay with. I've succeeded. If I can, kind of gauge my kicking at a certain level, when in the NFL, making the NFL was that gauge for me. Had it not been the NFL, I'd say, well, I played Division I football, and maybe I tried out for some teams, whatever. But if it wasn't good enough to make it in the NFL, then it wasn't meant for me, and my body couldn't physically do any better. And so that's where I think that people are kind of misled, because they're not really, and I've talked about this in previous episodes as well, where people don't understand really how powerful the mind is. Your mind is incredibly powerful. And it's a little deceptive in a sense too, because you've just been convinced by others, or maybe just your mind says like, man, I don't know if I can do that. My mindset going into that boxing gym the first couple times, I'm like, this is nuts. This is too hard. I can't do this. I thought that 14 years ago. I'm still a member of that gym today. I've got over 1,240 something classes, 1,240 something classes in the title boxing that I do. And then with F45, I couldn't believe it. Last Wednesday, the lady said, hey, just, kind of secretly, hey, you just hit 100 classes. And that's a little over a year that I've been involved in F45. I'm like, I'm at 100 already? Like, yeah, like, wow, what a pleasant surprise, like, that's pretty cool. So again, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying that, I committed to that financially and, morally and all that. I got, I found out that I had some friends that work out there, and it's fun now, and that's the other thing too, that you never really know. You get into a gym or go into a place where you got nutrition classes or whatever the case may be, and you're seeing the people that maybe and it makes it much better. And another thing about the commitment too is like maybe you have an accountability partner. I started out with one, but that one that I had fizzled out. In all honesty, he was the guy that passed away. Now, again, I'm not saying if you fizzle out and don't work out and all that, you're going to pass away. Bernie was a little unhealthy, and he knew it. He just, he got caught in the COVID, and I think that was his final straw, really, that kind of that broke him, literally. No, but my point is that, the commitment and just understanding that long term, understanding and giving it time, just as Nick said, embrace the suck. He said the season of suck. It's, you're going to get worse before you get better. Just understand that is reality. Okay. And don't give up. And that's the other thing too, is like you start a commitment that you made January 1st, New Year's resolution. It's everyone, we all make them. We all have maybe smaller, maybe not everyone makes them, but a lot of people do. Maybe they're small commitments, maybe they're big commitments. But again, commitments that you're talking about, those New Year's resolutions, are kind of more or less the same thing as goals that I keep talking about that I kind of avoid. I kind of avoid the long-term goals, like I mentioned, and the reasons why. And doing a New Year's resolution should be, I'm going to commit to working out. Don't say how long. Don't commit to. I'm gonna join a gym. Some gyms, some days now they're doing month-to-month memberships, but back in the day, and I'm sure there's still gyms out there that do like year contracts, or maybe 2-year contract or whatever. Well, you're committed financially at that point. You can't back out, because once you sign that contract, you're going to owe them that much money for 1 or 2 years, whatever you committed to. So that's another thing that people do, is they commit to a gym the first month of January, whatever year it is, and next thing you know, I can't do this. It's too hard. Well, you got a year to pay for that membership, and it may take you to court if you don't pay or whatever. Put you, give you to collections, and next thing you know, you got a bunch of collectors calling you. You don't want to do that, of course. So that's my point, is like really understand the commitment level, and again, there's a certain, if you have a passion for it, I think everybody should have a passion for their health and wellness. I don't know why anybody wouldn't. And again, don't get mesmerized by big pharma and doctors. Oh, they'll take care of me. I can just eat, all this food, and my job is so busy. No, I know a lot of people that get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, work out before they work. And I know people that do meal prep, and they will bring their stuff with them. They're not going to go have lunch with the colleagues at the local, Hooters downtown or something, or, wherever, where there's a bunch of fried food, and they're eating that crap every day. There's a lot of people very committed, but that's the thing, is like, you gotta be a little different, because in all reality, there's a lot more people out there that are just like very inconvenienced by healthy food choices, healthy, ways of life, getting up early, exercising, or going after work, and that commitment that takes to do that. But again, be realistic about your commitment before you actually make the commitment. Put some notes around your house, in your mirror, in your bathroom, on your mirror, so give yourself that opportunity. Like, man, if I take this little Post-it note down off of my mirror, I'm looking myself in the eyes while I do it, and I'm failing at a commitment that I made. Okay. I was saying earlier that I'm like the yes man. I say yes to everything. And so when I make a commitment, and now, thinking back, Tom Coughlin, I played for him. If anybody knows who Tom Coughlin is, he was the head coach for the Jaguars for many years, known as a disciplinary dictator kind of guy, that he made the rules and everyone had to follow every rule to a T. Otherwise you're fined. It was kind of like that. It was kind of like, some of the rules were like kind of weird, but playing for a guy like that, and just the way I was brought up, and knowing that, it started really, thinking back in the day, my mom said, eat what's on your plate. So I put stuff on my plate because I'm really hungry. And then halfway through the dinner, I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of full, and I want to like not eat it, but I know mom will get mad at me if I don't eat what's on my plate. I kind of wonder about that today. These days, I'm like, man, I maybe sometimes I got a little overweight because of that theory, but it was just a commitment. It was a discipline type of thing. Don't waste food, clearly, all that kind of stuff. But my point is really when you make a commitment, really try to stick with it. And again, if you have an accountability partner, you now you have two people. So you get that accountability partner in there making that same commitment that you did. And now if one of you decommits, then no. We're in this together. Okay. That's one of the best ways of doing this, So if you think you're challenged, you want to be challenged on your own, that's a very good commitment. And it takes a lot of discipline to not decommit to the commitment you made as far as this New Year's resolution, whether it's working out or health and wellness and lifestyle and nutrition, things like that. But when you have someone else there, if you want to quit, they're going to say, no, they're going to grab you and pull you up and help you. And if they're going to quit, you're going to do the same thing with them. You go, no, we're doing this together. We committed for, at least a month, whatever. Again, don't, my opinion is don't go too long with commitments, because the longer they are, the more unrealistic maybe they kind of are, they're harder to achieve. And the more, you're going to feel like a failure if you don't quite do that, or if you decommit to that as well. So commitment's a big deal. It's New Year's resolutions right around the corner. So for all you people out there making those New Year's resolutions, don't give up on them. Please, you're talking to yourself. Put that sticker on your mirror and go for it. Don't quit. You're good. You'll make it. With that said, you guys have an amazing Monday night. Watch some football, and we'll see you next week at 5:30 on Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Take care.
Thank you for watching Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time.